Ladies and gentlemen, hang on to the edge of your seats, because this is Blockbuster Pick-ems.
Oh, boy.
Welcome back.
Anything for my princess.
Welcome back. I'm David Case. This is,
Lauren Decker.
to my farthest right, we have Michael Fisher.
Hey, everybody.
And over here, someone else, Matthew Sanford.
Anyway.
That's me. How's it going, everybody?
And
Is
as
that your name? I thought you were just always someone else.
Just always
Huh.
someone else.
New
to
name,
know.
someone
Your
else.
name.
So, welcome back to Blockbuster Pick-ems, the fiercest film competition on the internet, and also a really
Wowzers.
great video podcast. All right, guys. So,
I pointed.
basically, we play a really cool weekly game. We are into our 6th week of competition,
Yep.
and I knew
No.
that.
We
We've
did
had
week
6 weeks
We did
of
week 6.
competition,
Now we're-
and so this is week 7.
Week 7.
And so
Lucky
basically,
number.
we play a game called Blockbuster Pick-ems. So
What is it
every
called?
weekend, Blockbuster Pick-ems is played. So new films come out every weekend, and we predict how they're going to do in the weekend box office. So this is how you play. You predict 5 films. If the film ends up within the top 5, you get 5 points. If it ends up in the correct spot, you get another 5 points. If you happen to guess the total gross within 100,000 over or under, the actual price, or I mean, not price, how much they
Gross.
actually make,
Price.
gross, then then you get an extra 10 points. So you got 5 slots. You got 20 points in every single slot. That's 100 points total a week. And I think I'm at 190 between all of the weeks combined right now. I'm in last place.
Yes, you are.
So
And Lauren's tied. With
that's just
you.
a little bit
I
of
have
what's
more
to
points
come.
for.
Okay.
This is Blockbuster Pick-ems. So we've had a pretty heated summer with a lot of great films, as we say here at Blockbuster Pick-ems. Movies are only as good as the money they make.
They sure are.
So we're making more money. We're making better movies. We're gonna just completely ignore. I guess some of them, and we'll talk to about one in a second. But
As
Matt,
many as we can ignore.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, just to keep us sane. So Matt, what happened last week? Let's get everybody on the same page here.
Realistically, a lot of things happened this weekend. A lot of really crazy things happened. We'll just start with the top 5 for the box office. Number 1 was The Meg. That kind of just surprised everyone.
Not me.
Everybody on this.
Not me.
Not Mike.
I had it at number 1.
But Mike still gave it about half of what it actually
I put it
had.
at 33. It did a lot better.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I'm looking. Yeah, it did a lot better than 33.8. It did 45.4 million. And actually, a guy on Reddit said he would eat a bull testicle if it made 45 million, and he delivered.
Oh,
We will get back to you.
delivered.
Oh wait,
I
he
haven't-
did.
I think he
We
delivered.
We'll get back to you if
don't
I
make
he ate
those
that
kinds of
bull.
promises
Put that-
here.
The link is in the
Put that
comments
video
below.
in. Yeah, we'll put the link somewhere.
I'm not ready to make
Lauren
that kind
will
of a
already
promise
have
on
it
this
there.
show.
He delivered. And
Lauren
it-
collects bull testicle eating videos, or
Ironically-
eating of bull testicles.
I think
it's
I
like
think
a
it was-
fear
This
factor.
is why we don't
to-
hang out much.
Coincidentally,
I'm a
I
little
think he had called out somebody else who had done something like, "I'll eat my own testicle if so and so happens," and he called that guy out. So then he made the post like,
Okay,
"If
well.
it makes 45 million, I'll eat a bull testicle."
Sounds like a gentleman
And
who has a
then
lot of
just-
friends.
Yeah, so
Maybe
he's like,
should have
"All right,
aimed
I'll
for
have
like
to do it."
70.
Or a lot of not so great friends.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or no friends.
I love those when people make those assumptions or those guesses and then they end up
And
having
they
to go
lose.
with it.
They
Yeah.
have to
Especially for a
shave their
movie
head.
like The Meg.
Yeah, there's some on video games recently that were
He'll
really
never
funny.
forget that movie.
Yeah, that's true. So The Meg got 45.4 million. Number 2 was Mission Impossible Fallout at 19.3 million. Number 3 was Disney's Christopher Robin at 12.9. I do it every time.
Good one.
Nailed it.
Number 4 is Slender Man,
It
or
just gets
S&M
funnier,
as I
man.
like to call it. S&M.
Oh my
This
God.
is just torturing us. 11.3 million.
That's horrible.
Slender Ant-Man.
I love it.
Number 5 was BlacKkKlansman. Yeah, that's how you pronounce that, right? Because
The thing in your
there's
throat?
no space in it. That BlacKkKlansman.
That's-
Because it's like a glottal stop, right?
Yeah, that Spike Lee film. That
Yeah.
Spike Lee
Glot-
joint.
Glottal
They
Stop,
look
also
really
my favorite Danish dance.
The glottal stop. That's funny. The BlacKkKlansman made 10.8 million. And what that meant for us was pretty striking, kind of crazy. A lot of things have a lot of rules that we had to go into the rule book for to make sure that people got points that they needed. In first place, with a beautiful beard.
I trimmed it.
He
I
trimmed-
can't pull.
he did
I
trim
can't
it.
pull pencils out
He
of it
can't
anymore.
pull pencils out of it anymore. Mikey the Fish.
Yeah.
First place.
I
He
nailed
got
that.
40 points.
Coming
He
back.
I nailed
actually-
that Christopher Robin gross on the dot. I don't
Yeah,
need point
he did.
one.
He actually tied with me with 40 points because I got super lucky. I got second place because I actually guessed the gross for The Spy Who Dumped Me, but it didn't make the top 5.
So you
and so
only
I
got 10
did
points.
only get 10 points. I didn't get the additional 10 for
You
it
had
being
a
in the top 5.
hard-working 10 points there.
Yeah, it was a real surprise. That was really cool. But I ended up losing to Mike in the total. Then in third place came David.
Wow, took you long enough to get to my name.
David Case in third place. He got 25 points. Way to go, Dave.
Up 10 from last week.
And in last place, have we done this before? Has Mike given Lauren
Yeah, duh.
No.
I know. That's,
Come
I was
on.
trying to.
Muffin
I was
Man.
trying to.
I'll
yeah.
give Lauren
Oh, yeah.
humiliation
Yeah.
films.
Mike
The
has
one
to
I
give
just
Lauren.
watched.
Mike has to give Lauren a humiliation film.
Lauren and I have been back and forth on these
Yeah.
humiliation films for each other
like,
this
what are you
season.
talking about?
We give each other humiliation
We're just
films.
attacking each
No,
other.
I was
Yeah,
just joking.
it's
Has
fun.
it happened before? Because it literally
Oh, it
just
did.
happened.
Oh,
She
okay.
gave me one, I gave
Oh,
her
were you
one.
joking about
All right,
it?
Yeah,
so
I was
what's-
joking.
okay.
So Mike
So
got
what
3
is it?
points. I got 2. Dave got 1.
Thank you.
In the total overall standings for our league, maybe different from your league at home. 12 points for me.
I'm not
Mike
playing
got
in it, so
10.
it's automatically different.
Mike has 10 points in second, and tied in last place is Lauren and Dave with 7 points. So it's a heated
So
competition.
I'm,
But
I'm
I'm still-
technically
I'm still
in
in
last.
third.
Points for.
Dave is technically in last
Yeah.
because of points for. As we get later into the season, we're going to have to differentiate that. Some people will tie.
So everybody's broken 200 points this whole season.
We,
Except for
we
Dave.
add up all the points that we get
That's
each
out
week,
of 600.
and that's how we differentiate the ties
Just like
once it
fantasy
gets in the
football.
Grand Prix.
Pants,
Exactly.
We're all
pants for.
losing.
Yeah.
Points for.
Or
I like
foosball.
pants for.
Or
Pants
foosball
for
when you
pants again.
I need
flick
some
the
new
points
pants.
across.
Yeah, that's true. I
Pants
think we
ball.
should do that. Dave has 190 pants for.
We should rank
Pants for.
movies on how many pants they earn.
It's got like 2
League of a
pants
Thousand
and
Pants.
then maybe like a pocket.
Yeah. Yeah, because he doesn't have that whole.
2 pants in a pocket on this
Yes.
one.
But that's all I got for this weekend. and
Wow,
what
good
happened
one,
in
Matt.
Blockbuster.
Super great. Love it.
Great segue, Lauren, and
Shuts it down.
Ouch.
Lauren's job is to shut it down.
All right, I'm done. Yeah, see you.
Bye, Matt.
so
We
next
don't
week,
need
buddy.
your picks this week.
without the dry wit of
He was good,
our
wasn't
friend
he,
Lauren
guys?
here.
He was good.
My good friend, my guru friend. We're-
Good
We're not
friend.
good.
my
friends, we're just
guru
guru.
friend. My guru friend.
man.
Let's go over to Mike and
Our
weekly
favorite corner.
we go to our favorite part. Let's block Matt out
All of the
physically
parts
as
are
much
our
as
favorite.
possible.
Hey, Mike.
So as you can see,
Need more of that.
Lauren and I are about to venture and saunter into our favorite part of the show. This is the part of the show where we get to hear about the movies that we all will debate about and the new and fresh titles. As you can see with my arms, they're
That's
exciting.
yelling back and
That's the
forth.
sign
It's
for
like
new
a
and
weird
fresh.
piston motion. I'm not.
The
sure
new
how to
exciting
describe that
films.
for you listening at home.
coming out this week in Mike's movie corner of the week.
Hey, everybody.
So Mike,
Hey,
what,
Mike.
what do we
Welcome.
have to look forward to?
Welcome to another exciting segment of Mike's Movie Corner of
I'm
the
glad
Week.
you trimmed your beard because now there's more space, even though it's still cramped. It's
To-
still cramped in your
Oh,
corner.
and yeah,
but
my
the
beard took up
made
a
little
good
bit
35-40% of the corner.
Exactly,
so,
yeah.
yeah, a little bit. Is a little more comfortable this week.
Oh,
I
so
guess.
comfortable.
I
Dave
didn't move
likes it.
much. As per usual, I like to start with the movies that are coming out in the most theaters. So coming in at over 3,400 theaters, Mile 22.
Mile
Not the
22.
sequel to Eminem's 8 Mile.
Mark, whoa.
Oh, I gotta change my picks.
Yeah.
Whoa.
This is rated R for pirates and stuff. This is the worst joke. I can't believe
We
I
haven't
did
done
that.
that
I can't
in
believe I
all
did
4
that
seasons.
though.
You've
This isn't
never
even a
done
pirate
a rated
movie.
R
It's so
for-
dumb.
I mean, it is Marky Mark,
Oh
though.
god, it is Marky Mark. Starring Mark Wahlberg, Rhonda Rousey. She's in this. Her second movie
I'm sorry,
since
did you say
the
Rosie?
Rousey.
It's okay. It's okay.
I was confused. I thought
Ronda
maybe it was
Rousey.
some
Sorry, Ronda
actress.
Rousey is a
it's
combination of Ruby Rose and Ronda
And
Rousey.
Ronda
Rousey.
Rousey.
Should be an interesting
This is
combo.
her second movie since the
What was the first?
the Fast and the Furious.
Oh, that.
Oh, she was in that
The one where they
That's
jumped the
right.
car to another tower.
Which one's that?
They all blur into one. They're
La
all
Familia
cars.
does so many cool tricks.
Fast and
one building
Furious
to another.
17.
Whatever one had a
that's the
Corona in it, I don't remember. John Malkovich is in this, and Lauren
I like
Cohen
John
from Walking Dead.
From The Walking Dead.
And directed by Peter Berg, so you know there's going to be explosions. James Silva is Mark Wahlberg's name in this movie. He's an operative of the CIA's most prized and least understood units. I feel like he's like emotionally unstable, like no one understands him.
Oh, that sounds like about right.
Yeah, he's got like his emo haircut or
He's
stuff.
gonna
Mark,
live
you
in,
only
like,
had
a
to go to
small
mile
trailer.
10.
Oh no!
I went to mile 22. I was thinking.
I'll flip a
Yui.
miles in, you
I'll
can't
flip
tell
a
me
Mu-
that.
I'll flip a Yui. He's aided by the top secret tactical command team. He must retrieve and transport an asset who holds life-threatening information to where?
The United
The
States.
Mile
Middle East.
22. Come on, guys, keep up.
Mile
Where the
10.
hell is mile
Mark,
22?
turn around.
Mark Wahlberg knows where it is.
Is
but
Miles
he
Teller
has to
there?
extract this important person before the enemy closes in. Is Miles Teller there? No, he's not.
He
Dave
heard
shook
it.
his head at me, then
He-
you
he
acknowledged
heard
it.
it.
It's just
We heard that trash.
So this has a lot of guns, a lot of explosions, and
lot of
it
miles.
looks like a lot of like
Mark.
just running to get
Mark
somewhere.
Yeah.
Right?
And
22 of
Nearly,
22.
nearly a
2
marathon.
miles running.
Yeah. If you,
This is no Transformers.
it's
Although it would be cool if some of their black SUVs turned into Transformers.
James Silva, he's great at his job,
Hey,
but he,
I think those
he
cars
keeps asking
actually a
what
robot.
Transformers are. I don't know what he's
Yeah.
talking about. I think he's understood,
Yeah.
misunderstood. Excuse me.
That truck's actually a
Definitely
robot,
not
you
not
guys.
understood at all.
Yeah. Just picture Mark just like what Lauren said. Bumblebee, you're here. And they're just
This is
like, what?
what-
This is
happened?
wicked awesome.
Did you guys know that Mark Wahlberg's not going to take his shirt off in another movie?
What?
How do you get? Well, you're upset. Why do you work out all that time and you have your own like protein company and then
Because
you
robots
don't-
have better six packs.
That's
Because he
why.
doesn't have to take off his shirt to sell protein powder.
Hear that?
I
The
just
Rock?
want people to want to watch my movies for me and not my abs, like that kind of thing. Anyway, sorry.
You sounded so sad when you did it. No one wants
That's
to
probably
watch
what
me.
he's like.
What he sounds like.
Yeah.
with the Oscars
Whoa.
having their the Oscars have added
Oh yeah,
popular
they
film
yeah.
to their award ceremony, and then now has made those movies eligible for Best Picture.
Movies like Marvel movies. and
Mark
stuff.
Wahlberg came out and said we would have won a few. We would have won a few if they had that a
few
couple years ago.
Transformers?
Wicked
Yeah,
awesome.
a few of the Transformers movies would have been good.
Best actor Optimus Prime.
I accept the award.
I mean, it's really moving to be Bumblebee and to only talk like a radio, you know? Like, he's not even using real dialogue. He's
That's
just using
character
radios and,
development,
you know,
bro.
Like I Am Legend was a great film because he couldn't talk.
Oh man.
The dog.
They should have a greatest dog award in the Oscars. That would actually go over really well.
Poor like everybody else that doesn't have an award. Like they have a whole extra day for the people that actually make the films, and they anyway.
Cut the Nicolas Cage. Where's my award? Anyways, moving on to a movie coming out in over 3,200 theaters, Crazy Rich Asians.
Crazy rich Asians.
Nice, Lauren.
Can we get
It's
some
like-
echo on that?
Yeah.
Or
Maybe
just
we should
got like
get
$1
some
million
echo on that.
for promoting it.
Are you not sharing this
Hashtag
marketing?
ad.
Wait, what? Wait, don't put that right there. Don't put that right there. This is a contemporary romantic comedy based on the global bestseller. Native New Yorker Rachel Chu travels to Singapore to meet her boyfriend's family, who is immensely wealthy.
Immensely wealthy.
Very wealthy.
Singapore.
Family. Familia. Vin
Asian.
Diesel's there.
I'm
the
excited.
father.
I'm
Rich
a father.
people.
Well, wasn't he just in Asia for that other movie? So, I mean, that would make sense.
Which movie?
Never mind. Wait, that was a different guy.
I was like, is Vin Diesel in this movie?
No.
Okay, that's good.
How deep?
How deep? He really stretches his character development a lot since Groot. Next, our last movie coming out this week, 2,500 theaters from Studio 8, the movie Alpha, which is an epic adventure set in the last ice age that tells the story of the origins of man's best friend.
I've seen a
Butterflies.
lot of commercials for
They've
this
been
in the past 2
shoving
days.
down people's throat this
It's one of those movies where you know that it's going to be bad when critics everywhere swear that it's good. Please go see it. It's like
There's a dog in it. Come on.
critics everywhere rave that this is a movie about dogs.
Yeah.
It's like, oh
No
my
way.
god, no.
Yeah. If it's like a caveman
It
kid
reminds me of
gets
that
lost
film
with the.
10,000 BC. Remember
Yeah,
that one?
it has like the same kind of style. It's like this is like 3D-ish animation kind of thing. It's like computer animation, a lot of it. Yeah, he gets lost with the wolf, and then they become best buds.
Alpha.
Alpha.
I wonder which one's
Coming
Alpha.
this fall.
Coming this fall to this weekend.
It's a slapstick movie now. That's it.
Yeah.
I ended on that note.
Let's
It
bounce
was a
out
really
of the
rough
corner.
movie corner of the week this
All right,
week.
bye, Mike.
But see you guys. I'm gonna go home.
Yes.
All right,
now
well,
that it's just me, the most important person here. Oh shit, Dave.
Uh-oh.
well, we have to get to it, so that we could really figure out what the gurus actually felt about the films you just heard about. So to begin our lightning round, this is round 7. The lightning round.
What if the lightning shot
ding
the
turned
bell
into
while it
lightning.
was
Okay,
dinging?
Mike, get with the program.
my ding is very sad too. Everyone left him.
All right, so just to be clear, Mike won.
Mhm.
Then it'll go Matt. Then
Way to
it'll go
go,
me.
Mike.
Then it'll go Lauren.
Me.
He does this so he doesn't mess up again.
Yeah. So yes. So Mike, go ahead and
And then
begin.
blame me for trying to take first pick.
Yeah,
And
exactly,
Mike will now
first
begin
pick.
his picks.
I am starting with one of our new movies this week.
Alpha.
At number 1, I'm putting Crazy Rich Asians up there at $29.9 million. I think this is going to get pretty close to $30 million. My girlfriend is not. Every time she sees a trailer, she gets excited about it. She's actually seeing it right now. Because I didn't mention this in the movie of the week, that it did come out tonight, not Friday.
Which is
so it's coming out a
Wednesday.
little early, which why I didn't put it past the $30 million. So Crazy Rich Asians at number 1 at $29.9 million. Number 2, I don't feel great about this, but I'm putting Mile 22 at number 2 at $24.1 million. There's action. Peter Berg has explosions.
Marky Mark.
Marky Mark. Got to put it there.
But he doesn't show his abs.
No abs.
No abs. Number 3, I put The Meg, and I put it at 20.7. I'm giving it like a 57% drop. I've heard nothing but terrible things about this
really?
movie, but it made a whole bunch. So $20.7
I even
million.
heard from somebody that I trust that it's like a propaganda film. Like it's straight up a government-owned
Yeah.
propaganda film.
Someone
What are they-
I know never posts
What are
anything.
they?
Avidly
I haven't
posted
seen
a
it
video talking
myself,
about how
but
much
it does
they hated
seem
this movie.
like something that does happen in the film industry,
Hmm.
where somebody buys it out and changes the script. And even
Right.
Jason Tatham came out and said that.
Tatham?
Jason Tatum.
Jason, what is his name?
Jason Tatham.
Hey, Ron!
Hey, Ron, your brother Jason.
Statham. I missed the S on the Tatham.
That's good.
So
Red
anyway,
tag.
he was like, "This is not the movie that I read when I went and filmed. This movie fucking sucks," and that's probably something
what
like
he
he
I listen
sounded
to everything
like.
he
That was
says. His
pretty
accent's
close.
so good.
Anyway,
I think that was like spitting
on.
Jason Statham. That was really great.
no,
dude.
it's
That
Jason
sounded-
Tatham. It's a
Yeah,
different
it's,
dude.
Jason Tatham is
He's
his
got
twin
somebody
brother.
else.
weird
With
listen.
the worst accent.
Yeah, his twin brother with a shitty accent.
Hi,
Jason
boys.
Tatham.
What you doing?
It's like-
Tatham, get out of here.
No wonder you think the movie sucks.
Oh,
You don't even like it.
I love that. I put that at 20.7.
Great, Mike.
Number 4, I'm keeping it in there. Mission Impossible Fallout. I put it at $12.7 million.
Wait, I'm sorry. What was your number 2? You gave
Number
it
2, I put Mile
22.
22
Okay, I
at
wasn't paying
24.1.
What? Pay attention
Wait a
then.
second. I thought
Where
you
are
were Meg
you?
2. I'm
Meg,
sorry.
number 3 at 20.4. Number 4, Mission Impossible Fallout at 12.7.
Nice.
Number 5 was hard for me. I didn't want to put Alpha in there because it's Alpha. So I'm thinking this movie's gotten great reviews. It did really well last week. I'm putting BlacKkKlansman in at $8.8 million.
Wow.
I think
Oh,
it might get
improving.
I think it had 10.8 million last week. I think it's only going to lose a little
Right.
bit.
Sorry, my bad.
I think it could get a bump in theater count
counts, yeah.
because it's gotten such great reviews. People seem to love it. It only came out like 15 million. If it gets bumped up to 2,000, I should be pretty good with $8.8 million. So those are my 5.
Wow,
All right.
good job.
Hop,
Thanks.
hopping
Awesome.
over to
Thanks,
you,
pal.
Matt.
Hop on over to. I don't have a corner.
All
right,
We've
so-
established I don't
Matt's
have a corner.
movie
All right.
side.
Yeah.
So number 1.
Number 1, my picks are very different. I did number 1 at Meg. I don't think anything's going to beat it out, but I did give it more of a drop than Mike at 20 million. I just don't have a lot of hope in
20 even.
Yeah, 20 even in the other movies.
You're
Number
so wrong.
2, Crazy Rich Asians, or Cray as I like to call it, CRA. No, anyway.
No.
I'm gonna give that one 17.1. The fact that it's coming out on Wednesday, I feel like anybody who's like dying to see it is gonna see it today or tomorrow. Number 3, Mile
In the middle of the
22.
week, yeah.
15.7 million. I really tried to compare this one to SWAT. Remember the movie with LL Cool J and Colin Farrell, and he's like
Jeremy
"Bitch."
Renner's in that too.
Right, there's like a bunch of that movie
Michelle
made a
Rodriguez.
ton of
How do I
money.
know everyone
I
in
did
this
not
movie?
know
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
movie made
yeah.
a ton
Oh,
of
yeah.
money, and I was like totally blown away because that movie sucked. Anyway,
Sucked.
number 4.
I still watch it when it's on cable.
I love
I
SWAT.
still watch
Back
it when it's
up,
on
back
cable.
your roll, man.
Number 4, Mission Impossible Fallout, 10.6, and then number 5, Christopher Robin at 6.7. I think it's going to squeak in there, and I don't see Alpha doing any better than
What did you put,
All
Christopher
right,
Robin?
so just
that. What did
to
I put? What?
Christopher Robin?
6.7.
Thank you.
just so that
I
you
agree with
guys can be cleansed of those horrible picks, I will go ahead and say mine now. All right, so Cray. I'm taking Matt's thing. That's my
No.
thing. So
Dave's thing now.
Cray. Crazy Rich Asians at 24.7. I think that it wins out the week. Number 2, Mile 22 at 18.3. Then number 3, I have it taking a 64% drop. Meg to 16.9.
Whoa.
Mission Impossible Fallout at 9.6. And then I also have Christopher Robin coming in at 7 flat. 7 million point zero. Flat.
No.
All right. Sorry. Lauren, your turn.
All right. So I guess mine are a little more similar to Matt's. I got number 1 at Meg at 24.6. Number 2 is Mile 22 at 15.6. Number 3 is Crazy Rich Asians at 15.2. And I did have trouble placing those two, but my biggest thing is that Crazy Rich Asians is coming out today. So number 4, Mission Impossible 6 at 11.3. And I did put Alpha in my top at 9.8.
I think that's pretty accurate. I just didn't. With Alpha, it just when I saw the
but I've
trailers, I
seen
was like,
so many like
yeah.
in the past week that it's. I feel like the
They know
people
you
who
love
don't
dogs.
want to go see these other movies that have been out or are coming out this weekend are gonna go see it.
Well, all of our numbers are pretty similar. We kind of have Crazy Rich Asians kind of scattered around. I am obviously the highest at 29.9, but that's only 9 million off of Matt's, who's the lowest at 20 million. Or excuse me, at 17.1.
17.1.
Oh, you put it at
No, I
15.2.
yeah, because my big. I mean, I feel like over the 5 days, yeah, it's
It
gonna
would
make
somewhere
29
around 30
million.
million. Yeah.
Every person I've talked to about this movie that's like an avid reader is so excited about this movie to come out.
Which
they
means
are
they saw
so
it tonight,
excited. I don't know. I'm confident that it's going to win out the weekend. I'm pretty sure it's
Me
going to.
too.
But I am obvious. First, I mean, I'm obviously the outlier in BlacKkKlansman. I really didn't, and I guess you guys agree with me too, putting Christopher Robin in there, that Alpha is not going to do that well. Lauren, you're the only one that put it in there. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I'm worried, but I'm not too worried. All right, done.
Point
I
made.
can honestly
I thought you were
see
gonna
it
say
making
something like,
nine.
"I like dogs."
No, I said
could
something
see it.
worse and less intelligent.
I mean, I can see Alpha happening just as likely as BlacKkKlansman getting a bump in theaters and then just holding on with like a 20% drop, like something crazy like that, because everybody wants to go
Sure.
see it and it's getting the press that like I'm seeing clips of the movie on TV and like people are like just really talking about it.
Alpha just looks like such a forgettable movie. Every
Yeah.
time I see a trailer for it, like 2 seconds after I watch it, I'm like, wait, what was that movie I just watched?
Yeah, and I feel like with the title, you're just gonna confuse it with that Justin Timberlake movie where they bury the kid at the mountain.
No, I
feel
actually
like-
think about that.
Oh my god.
No, actually, when I think about this movie, I think about that animated movie Alpha and Omega for kids, which is
okay.
why I also think that it's going to be tied in for families.
I just think
That's
it
fair.
looks too similar, like that. Would you say 3000 BC?
10,000 BC,
10,000 BC. What I already forgot that one. It's
right.
uh,
Forget
I
this
have
one
no
too.
idea what you guys are talking about. This-
and
These are all going past me.
Cody Smith McPhee, who
Oh,
plays
him,
the main
yeah.
character
Oh, great,
in
love that
Alpha.
guy.
Exactly.
Never heard of him,
Does
yeah.
anyone know what movie he was in?
No.
He played Nightcrawler in the most recent X-Men movies.
Ah.
It's hard to recognize him when he's
Yeah,
not
still
completely
don't.
blue.
Yeah.
But exactly, there's no star really carrying this movie. It's kind of petering in at 2,500 theaters and Studio 8 hasn't really made a whole bunch of great movies and whatnot. So I don't know. Nothing else. I mean, we all gave Meg a huge drop.
Yeah, it's
all
it's
of us.
gotten
I
huge
thought I
It's
was
at my top, but I didn't think it's. I thought it was going to drop.
You actually are the
have it at the
highest on
most,
Meg.
but
Yeah,
it's only at
24.6. Yeah, we're all pretty.
Compared to what it was this past weekend, that's a pretty big drop.
It's a huge drop. I thought I gave it a, what did I give it, a 54?
57.
I gave it a 54.4% percent drop.
Yeah.
And I thought I was going to be the craziest on that drop. But Dave, you had a crazy drop. What'd you say, 60?
64%. So it came out to 64% or like 16 point something, and I just was being funny and I put 16.9.
No, I was telling Lauren a second ago that someone I follow on social media, like that never really posts stuff, posted like a 3.5-minute video about just talking about how terrible the Meg is.
I never do this, but I'm fucking pissed.
He was angry. Like, so you could see his face was turning red talking about this movie. So I knew it would get a lot of money. I compared it a lot to Rampage and movies like that, the like creature flicks and stuff like that. But I guess this is way worse.
I compared it to Sharknado, and that did great.
On DVR.
Which one? 1, 2, 3.
4.
Oh, sorry, 4.
I think what's
4.
really interesting about the film is what Dave brought up last time, that no creature under the water / boat movie
It
made
ever
more
beat
than 19
16,
million.
19, yeah, whatever, yeah.
And so this one just completely,
Like,
pardon the
doubled it.
pun, blew it out of the water.
Yeah,
Well,
doubled the
why do
record.
you guys think the Meg did so well?
I think it did well because of this Shark Week season.
Week. It's a giant shark. I mean, a lot of people like have. I know I'm one of them. When it comes to like prehistoric animals, like seeing what the megalodon would
Whatever.
look like. It's kind of
Whatever.
gross.
Go
It's
to
like
a
a tease in the
museum.
trailer,
Yeah.
not
Go to an
showing them.
aquarium.
Yeah, like,
Matt.
like every Shark Week, it was like, what's the next segment on the megalodon?
Lauren, you said the
That's
cast is what you think brought in
I
a lot
think
of the audience?
It had a lot to do with it.
So
I
many
think it
Office
helps.
fans went to go see Rainbow.
Well, and I
Sunshine.
think Jason Statham taking a bigger role in the
That might have
Fast and the
been the
Furious
only reason I would have
movies
seen
got people like really wanting to see it. Jason Statham's becoming more of a household name, being involved in that franchise, especially since his character is going to be even more developed with like a Rock and Jason Statham like crossover from the Fast and the Furious movies and stuff.
What?
Yeah.
he's gonna join the
Did you
La
s-
Familia now.
Did you see the last one? He
Uh-uh,
kind of
no,
did
I
join
don't
the
watch
Familia.
Oh,
Fast.
spoiler
they're
alert.
fun. They're
Fast
fun.
La Familia is growing.
They're a lot like Mission Impossible to me. They all blur into one giant movie with Tom Cruise running, but this one it's just cars driving. The next one they got to figure out the cars are going to go underwater.
Oh,
they're going to
God.
go in
Oh,
space. They're going to
boy.
go in a volcano.
Nice.
I don't know where these cars can go now.
Underwater
These
They've
cars
gone
will go
everywhere.
everywhere. Exactly,
Carnado.
everywhere.
Fast and the Furious.
Cars
Carnado.
3.
Carnado.
I want to
All
see
right.
Fast and the Furious 25, where they're like all old people in the fast lane going 45 with their blinker on.
I mean, I've said it before. If any of the crossovers,
I just can't wait
wanna
till the
see-
quinceanera or the bar mitzvah movie. You know, that 13, 15, then 25. We do some sort of quarter millennial
Oh,
or
yeah.
century, quarter
for
century.
For sure.
Of all the crossovers, I want to see Transformers and Fast and Furious because I really want to see Vin Diesel just like punch Bumblebee like straight.
But it's in his contract that he can't lose a fight, so he's gonna beat up
yeah, he's gonna like
Optimus
go
Prime.
flying out of the car and like do a flying.
Well,
yeah.
Optimus
like-
Prime doesn't fight humans in his contract.
That's true.
Oh man, these contracts have got to be redone, just like
Come on,
Chris Evans and
Optimus.
Captain America.
Optimus Prime, The Rock, in a UFC like, type thing. Dude, that'd be awesome. Anyway, we should probably move on.
All right, so Dave, you lost last
Ooh,
week.
yeah.
Ooh, this is a great
And
one.
you had the pleasure of being given a movie by Mr. Mike Fisher.
I did. I wanted to stick with the theme because I had given Dave I think it was last season. I gave you Deathbed, the bed that eats.
No, I think it was even
seasons
two
ago.
seasons
ago.
Two.
So I figured,
back and listen to
why
that
not?
episode.
Yeah, it's a good one. Dave does a great job.
Or
of
watch
being
the
that one.
movie, whichever.
It's hard
was
to
less
find
painful.
Deathbed, the bed that eats. I literally brought you a DVD for that one.
Mm-hmm.
That one was
This one I did
interesting.
not give you a DVD. I figured I should stick in the theme of inanimate objects becoming possessed by demons. So
And you got what you paid for.
Dave was. I gave him the Mangler,
The
which
Mangler.
was it about a washing machine?
No, it
It was
said
a
No,
clothes
no,
folder.
no.
A
Let me- I'll get into it.
clothes folder.
So this was called the
That's the
Mangler.
thing.
This is a thing.
this is a very period
This is
movie.
a thing. We learned things from this
that's what I
film.
was like, it opens up to like a laundry.
Well, that's the thing that
I want to fold clothes.
Like that's the thing that you'd think though. You'd think that it's like a period piece about the time in the country when there's like the industrial boom and they're in like textile factories and stuff, but it's not. So I'll get into it though. It's called the Mangler, and that is the name.
Mangler.
That is the name of a industrial-sized laundromat machine that flattens out and steams. You guessed it, sheets.
People.
I did guess it.
So
Not
just-
yet, Matt. Not yet.
Not yet. So it's actually a short story. One of the
How long's the movie?
Older ones. The movie is an hour and 46 minutes or
Not
something
short.
like that.
Not
an
very
hour and a
short.
half?
Not even-
And the book,
That's more than
the story is like 40
I said not-
pages or
not
less.
Whatever, Matt.
It's like 40 pages or less, and so they made 3 movies out of the Mangler short story by Stephen King.
Wait, they took 40 pages and cut that into 3 movies?
No, they took
Not even Peter
they
Jackson's
took
that
like
good.
the 40 pages and then just ran with it.
Oh, okay.
So like the movie kind of does set up like a Stephen King book, and like this guy over here can tell you like there's a lot of stuff that Stephen King does. I wouldn't call it redundant, but I would call it like he does it over and over. So it's like basically the
That's
same
the
thing.
definition of redundant.
So like
That is exactly
so like
what
there's
it is.
definitely
Webster's
some of those
Dictionary.
there's some of those things where it's like based off of real fears in life, we put it into the story and make it horrifying by adding a twist to it.
Deathbed.
Like
Yeah, he was
like,
totally high. when he
bad
came up with
work
this one, yeah.
conditions become like a laundromat thing that eats. But the problem is that like it definitely got like Hollywood like fucked up. So I'll get into it now. The Mangler, the film, was made in 1995.
Well, wait, this was 95?
95. It looks like it's in the
man.
70s.
That's when I looked at pictures, I was like, this is like 60s,
It's
70s.
got
right?
Ted Levine. If you Google him, you definitely recognize him as the
Yeah.
bad guy in a lot of movies in the 90s. And then they also have
Isn't he in Roger
as the
Rabbit?
bad guy, Robert, I want to say his name, Ingold, who is actually the original Freddy Krueger in the
Friday
Nightmare
the
on
13th, or
Elm
Nightmare on
Robert
Street.
Elm Street,
England.
England. Okay, so
Yeah.
it's spelled differently. Okay, so
Yeah.
thank you. Who plays the bad guy, and so what I would explain his character in this, it's like Freddy Krueger kind of mixed with the old man from the Magic Mountain ads that dances with the bus. But just evil. So it's like an evil version of that guy. He's filled his bus up. He's brought a bunch of women to his factory to work. And apparently this is also a world in which sheets have high value. So he's rich and he owns a sheet steaming factory.
That makes sense.
They're like 8,000 count
So, right.
Egyptian.
95 was trying to
So
call
we
it.
open on the foreman
So
of this
trying to call
factory, and he's like taking this role way too seriously. He's like pointing at someone and going, "Get to work!" And then at one point goes, "No, seriously, you get to work!" And like there's nobody on camera. You have no idea who he's like pointing at, and it's like right off the bat you get the sense that this movie is just going to be like a total acid trip. Like
Nice.
it comes into the factory. It looks like Matt had to watch Batman and Robin.
No, I did.
I
Or
made Lauren
watch it, and maybe not the homoerotic parts of the statues and stuff, but the way that they build the set, where it looks like you could like rip the styrofoam set like on command. It's got that like weird feel, so you immediately get the sense like they're wearing blue bonnets at this place. It's called the Blue Ribbon Laundry, and the owner Bill Gartley kind of like walks around
Great
above
names.
them, and he like gurgles and hoots, and like you can never tell if he's upset or angry or like
Always
hungry or like bloodthirsty. And he wears this like these glasses that have like a little square, so he looks like Cyclops but just without the whole thing.
They
Just,
thought
like-
that was going to be the style.
and so like you can tell like they were like, dude, we got Freddy Krueger, let's give him a role. And like the guy obviously is just like overacting and in makeup and like
Well, because that's basically his role. In, like,
Yeah,
as
and Freddy Krueger, right? So-
yeah.
we get to it, and this is the greatest part. You guys will love how the movie opens. It's like the factory is going, everybody's sweating. We meet the three women that we're supposed to care about, although nobody really cares about them in the movie. You meet like this young mousy girl who's the niece to the guy who owns it, who's apparently still enslaved into laundry work.
But he owns it, but he has to.
He makes her work anyway for some
Oh,
reason.
okay.
And then you have like the middle girl who's like the newer girl, but she's obviously like the slutty one that the boss wants.
Oh,
They
yeah.
haven't
And then you have
unionized yet,
the
but they haven't
grandma.
unionized.
Right, no, they haven't unionized apparently. And you have the grandma. And so they kind of show them all intermingling, and then they get to the point where they're showing you the machine, and the machine's like the size of like 2 tanks put together, and it steams it steams the sheets and then folds them with its arms and like puts
The machine has
one
arms?
sheet at a time on the other end. Yeah, it's got like these folding mechanisms that you see going on inside of it. So the machine's like pretty legit. And apparently Stephen King, when he was a kid, worked with one of these. So it's like the whole idea of like workplace
What if you get
injuries
caught in
turned into like a horrifying demonic possession story. So that's what
Happens all the
happens.
time.
But the best
I
part
had a
about it,
nickel.
and they do it really, really well in the movie. It's the only thing they do well in the whole entire thing. So they accidentally go through the exact steps that it takes to activate a demonic possession that has already been mysteriously placed on this thing, we find out. So in order to do that, a bat is eaten by the machine accidentally,
Get these bats out of here.
right? Because that's one of the things Stephen
Get
King
'em
said.
out.
Like, you
Can't
sacrifice a bat, you need the blood of a 16-year-old virgin.
How old
So
are you?
this
I'm 60.
girl-
Get out of here.
This girl cuts herself on the handle because they're telling her to
damn
speed it
it.
up.
Ah.
So she cuts herself, and of course, when you get cut, you go, ah! And you throw your arm, and it goes into the mouth of the thing.
This is fantastic.
I would
That's
And
how
then
Lauren. That's what Lauren does when she
The
gets
old
cut.
lady
Yeah, exactly.
drops her medication into the machine, and we find out later that like it was kind of a reach, but they needed to figure out a way to get nightshade into the machine to like.
I take nightshade for my allergies.
So what happens is like
Wait,
right
what's
as
nightshade?
the
You really do,
blood
yeah.
gets in, there's like these guys walking by with an ice box, which is like an old refrigerator.
As you
that
often
looks
do in
like
a laundry
light bulb.
place.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And as they're coming by, all 3 ingredients are put together simultaneously somehow, and it causes this big blue electrical shock. And then like everybody's like freaking out because like this girl's been cut, and it's the niece of the boss. And so the boss kind of goes, all right, everybody get back to work. And the first thing I realized after this scene is like, first off, it's not just a laundry factory. They have refrigerators for some reason.
Well, that explains
So-
the icebox.
So yeah, the men in the have inexplicably been carrying around these big white
Men
refrigerators.
work with refrigerators. Women work
work
with
with the
laundry.
clothes.
exactly. So
Never
you think
gonna
like
change.
so you think like what the hell time period is this in? Cut
The
to
90s.
our detective who happens to be near that ice box as they're taking it into a home, which is kind of more of like forwarding to like the future. And Ted Levine is our detective. And you go out and you see like the homes and stuff, and it's like easily the 80s. And it's like, this is not a period piece. Why are these women being enslaved in this factory like down the street?
Feminism
in some,
hasn't gotten there
yeah,
yet.
so it's
It's pretty
obviously
extreme in the 90s.
it's obviously a Stephen King thing, and they like ran with it. Like he's trying to make it like
Drugs,
a
drugs,
surreal thing. Yeah. So they get to the second part where they're going. Like you kind of meet the detective, and I don't even really get into it. It's boring. And then they get to the second part,
Boring detective.
Fair
and
enough.
now. And this is what I'm going to get at, where I really just thought the movie was lazy. It's obviously like we're at this point we're freeballing it. We're getting to the part where we're gonna have to do something different than the short story because it's gonna end after the first death. So this movie really wings it. Instead of killing one of the girls, they kill the grandma. So she again
Classic.
drops her medicine into it.
Sally, stop doing that.
And like for a demonic possessed machine, it really doesn't do much on its own. Like they always are like falling into it. So
that
she
machine's like
she
if
goes
one
and
person falls in
she
here.
goes and it's like this thing that's
just
kind
like
of
the
like a
death
press,
bed.
you know.
I mean, somebody had to lay down in the
Yeah.
bed.
And she goes to grab her pills, and she gets
That's
like
true.
and she gets
Why would
sucked
she-
through it. And then like the foreman who like liked her, even though he's like a bad guy with the dude, he kind of like has this like sympathetic heart for him, and he runs over, and he's like, oh, and he almost goes to throw up, and everybody's like, what's wrong? Like other than the murder, like how could it get any worse? And he's like, it folded her.
how well?
It looked like her carcass was just folded neatly like one of the sheets.
Because I can't
And, like,
figure out how to fold a fitted sheet.
Well, you obviously need.
I
this
need to
thing.
watch this movie, I guess.
Yeah, so like this is kind of the idea. Like they accidentally create a plague. The icebox is also demonic.
Whoa,
So-
is demonicness
Yeah, so like
contagious?
basically like in between getting all these calls about weird things going on, the detective goes like he lives like apparently lives like next door to his brother-in-law, but like Ted Levine
to
is
family.
like one of those detectives. He's on like the last week of his job. His wife is dead. He lives alone.
He's an alcoholic.
And he hangs out with his brother-in-law, who is like a paranormal. I don't know. It's weak writing.
I talked to ghosts.
He basically needed a friend that had all these spell books. So the guy tells him, "Look, we need to go to." After they've kind of like done some investigating, and the icebox attacks a little boy by
Yeah.
If I
trapping
had
it.
a nickel.
Basically, their idea is like, all right, we need to go to the original niece because the only thing that would explain this is if the niece was a virgin. So let's just go ask her. And
Hey,
that's the whole
hey.
thing. Like they kind of
Do
like
it.
test it out a couple times in the movie, and like the friend is always like, "Hey, are you a virgin?" And like he's getting pulled out of the room. So finally,
By the way, normal questions just go around
Yeah,
asking.
I
finally
do
they
it all
like
the
figure
time.
it out. Like,
I told you to
no,
stop doing that.
this chick's a
know what
virgin,
to do.
and she could help us stop these deaths, which are basically people accidentally falling into the machine over and over again.
Just stay away from the machine.
Accidentally.
Put up some caution
So the
tape.
only thing that's
You know, we
actually
should get rid of
killed
these
anybody
Maybelline
is the
machines.
icebox. And when they took the top of the icebox off, it created the same electronic cloud.
Mm-hmm.
And the detective guy was still not convinced that it could be a demonic possession. It's one of those movies. So it goes on.
global
and on.
warming.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like he's just like, well, that explains it. And the guy's like, no, dude, it doesn't explain it. Like, what about that thing that almost killed you? That's like a blue cloud. Oh yeah, well I guess.
Fumes.
Like Ted Levine's an idiot. All right. Anyway, even in the
Not
movie,
a very good detective.
No.
so
I would say so.
essentially what happens is like they finally get this girl on their side, and what they say is like, we're gonna do this holy water thing. And
We had some of
And-
that in Vegas.
And they all like plan. Yes, we did. And they all plan to go and do this with the machine. And in between that, like the old man has now like raped one of his workers.
Yep.
Perfect.
Which is a horrifying scene where it's like basically the man from the Magic Mountain ads like going. It's like it's more uncomfortable than the like it
What a
puts the lotion on its
horrible-
skin. It's like
Oh,
he's got
no.
these lines where he's like, "You and your young, tight flesh," and it's just so it's bad. But I mean,
I want to
this
know
is
what
like,
got this guy into laundry.
This is like you know all those Magic Mountain ads. I was thinking like, what if they were just like the prologue to
I like how
this
you
guy's story?
you
Like
clung
like
to
he's
this
getting-
Magic
We're
Mountain
getting
thing.
sued by Six
But-
Flags after this podcast goes out.
The
So,
whole thing is
anyway.
like that guy didn't talk.
so they find out that
That's why. Not anymore.
okay, this holy water thing, it looked like it was working, but in the end, it's definitely not because the
It's
bad
definitely
guy.
making it worse,
The
'cause
bad
this is
guy,
a
as
saint.
he's dying, reveals that they've been feeding the blood of their 16-year-old virgin relatives to the thing for a long time to
I got like
gain
a
wealth.
baker's dozen of the 16-year-old virgins
Little
in the
Biles.
bag. Yeah.
Thing. It's like he's
So-
alone with the folding machine one night, and it's like, feed me, and he's like, okay.
Feed me, Seymour.
Little shop
I need
of
little
folding.
blood. So it's like Little Shop of Mangler.
Yeah.
No, so like essentially, it's like the guy kind of reveals this to them. They go and do the holy water thing.
Does he have a
anyway.
motivation why he's feeding it? Is it just because it's
Oh
the
no!
best
It gets
damn
him and-
folding
it gets
machine
him
in the
and
West?
It gets him and his rich friends rich,
Richer.
and it gives them like weird demonic.
This
power.
folding machine does.
No, the feeding it because it's like possessed.
Okay, that made sense.
Yeah, it doesn't really make sense. To be honest.
Plausible.
If you could,
Plausible.
if you could explain it to me.
Here's $25. Give me some more 16-year-old
eat
virgin
them?
blood.
Does
No.
it eat them and then poop money?
No,
That'd be
I'd feed it
different
too.
Or,
Mangler
or
movie.
do they
Money.
just take the wallet off the dead guy? and
That Matt actually has the most plausible
Yeah.
reasoning on that.
Here's
it's
some
making
more
us rich.
money.
Look, it folded these people and their wallets popped out.
$32 and a library card.
So
Poor fool.
they find out that there's like a society. Basically, it's like the what's
Whoa.
the movie
The
where all
Mangling
the
Society.
all the people
Hot
are
Fuzz.
pretty?
Oh.
Pleasant Town or whatever.
Pleasantville?
It's like, Pleasantville. It's like a cult.
Yeah.
So they don't really show the
Not
occult. They
Pleasantville.
allude to it. The old man dies,
Hmm.
and then they go and they perform their ritual anyway, and it does not work. The
Nope.
thing, in fact, gets more powerful from the holy water.
They were doing the deathbed
and becomes
ritual, not the
alive,
Mangler
and
one.
so it's like
Whoa.
the effects that I would say in the 90s even were pretty shitty, but like this is how to explain them. Like you have like a spiral staircase and you see your characters are running around it and it's like the top down shot of this endless staircase.
Like Vertigo?
Yeah, kind of thing. And then the machine is running like this big square thing with legs now. And
is it like
arms and legs?
Yes.
It's like the Beauty and the Beast scene with the.
It looks like a tattoo that's been put on like. Yeah, it looks like a tattoo that's put frame by frame like to run after them like Scooby Doo and so like basically like the whole stair thing doesn't work even though he was in front the entire time. Like the brother-in-law gets like just completely mangled in half. Just like so totally mangled, like the worst mangling of all. No folding, just mangling. And he's sitting there with like half his carcass, like zombie movie style, like like giving a really good death.
I have to see this.
It was fucking awesome. You know, you love it. Anyway, so Matt loves watching people die.
No.
I'm getting to the end, I swear.
I'm gonna get out of here.
Basically, it comes down to just the girl, the niece, and our detective Ted. They somehow escape in a pipeline.
Is the virgin.
Right, she's the virgin, right? And the machine like sprays down fire, and they somehow defeat it by getting really lucky, and just like doesn't really explain how it goes away. And so
they went to a dry cleaner.
This guy is like hopeful like that he's going to come back because she's obviously 16, but he's got a bond with her that's kind of weird now.
Is it like a father-daughter bond?
Right. So no, not so much.
Is?
No. And so the idea is that he saved
no
her.
No longer a virgin.
Matt.
No.
They do the kind of the epilogue thing. And I don't even know if this is in the Stephen King story. I'm curious if it is because it's really weird.
There's some weird stuff in Stephen King.
The whole idea is like you got to be careful because the people who have been mangled will somehow come back. Like their body will come back intact, and this is part of the whole spell prophecy that they learn in the middle of the movie. So in the end, it ends up being true. And they all come back mangled with like their finger like this, and that's how you know. Like the doctor, the whole movie has been giving them like fake skin and shit to kill people, and like he's got the finger, and so it's all revealed. But the idea is he goes back to the laundromat to find the niece, right, and give her some flowers. It's open. It's got the same exact machine in the middle, and they're all working fast still. And the only difference is instead of the Magic Mountain Man, his niece is now cursed, and she's standing there trying to do her best Freddy Krueger impression in like a big blue coat, like everybody get back to work. And she's like this small, like 16-year-old.
So we can assume the detective was probably dead.
And so the detective literally like he brings her flowers. He's in like this plaid shirt. It's like he's all dressed up. Like it's been a couple years. He's hoping that like, hey, she's 18 now. So like maybe she'll
down the days.
Maybe she'll remember what I did for her. And he shows up and she's basically taken over the curse for her grandfather. And he, instead of like fighting it this time, he's like, I give up. And it's the best because I've never seen this in any type of horror movie where the movie ends with the guy just tossing the flowers like, fuck it. Like
I'm retired.
I give up. Like I can't beat this mangler. And that's the mangler.
Man, oh man. Did it fold sheets better than you can?
It folded sheets better than I can, but I got to admit, the deathbed, the bed that eats, never gets unfolded. It just becomes a acid.
Isn't that better, though?
Well, like the deathbed never chased anyone. It was just a bed.
No, it would trip you out, and it would cause you to be seduced by things you wouldn't normally be, and then it would eat the fuck out of you.
And then if you tried to leave,
it was just toying with you the whole time
and grab you and pull you down.
But the mangler it chases you, man.
Yeah, it goes after
chases
you.
and mangles you.
I feel like it's like at one point it's like, so what do we do for the final deaths? Look, guys, we're not finishing this movie if we don't make this goddamn thing move. Everybody's been falling into it.
Well, it seems like anytime like any kind of Stephen King thing gets made, it's just like an acid trip. I mean, he directed the only movie he ever directed of his own was a Maximum Overdrive. And he's come out and said he was on a lot of cocaine at that time and does not remember making that movie. And when you watch it, you're like, yeah, he was.
Well, a lot of his movies and his books and stuff you could tell are his because they do start and end the same types of ways. Yes. But I'm not saying that they're bad. The Mangler was bad. I can say that.
Not.
All right.
So did you have a good time?
I got mangled up.
No.
Can't wait for Lauren to do hers instead of me.
Oh, well, Lauren, I have to give you a movie this week.
Yeah.
We've been going back and forth on the Netflix movies, you and I. I gave you Love, Wedding, Marriage,
Counseling
movie,
Therapy.
Mandy Moore. You gave me the true stories of an international
the memoirs of an international assassin.
Yeah. So I'm gonna stick with this Netflix theme, and since
Sounds
you
good.
gave me an Adam Sandler esque movie, his
We already
studio
had
and
to
stuff.
watch, what was it, Jack and Jill?
And you're gonna get another
Oh,
Adam
she
Sandler
did
movie.
watch Jack and
You
Jill.
are gonna be watching. One critic said the worst movie to ever be made, The Ridiculous Six.
Oh.
This was Adam Sandler's attempt at a Western movie. All of his buddies are in it, so you'll be able to watch it. I've seen one scene from this movie because my friend Trevor, you guys know Trevor, he really wanted me to watch
I
the
don't know
baseball scene because he swore that it was hilarious, and I was very disappointed for watching 3 minutes of this movie. So you got to watch all of it, Lauren.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
You know, this one might be one of those polarizing ones because I'm pretty sure my brother said, "Hey, have you seen The Ridiculous Six? It's actually kind of funny."
Hey,
which brother?
Matt,
Because I don't want to talk to them
If you
anymore.
had to just assume, like, what do you think the boner rating is on this one?
Oh, definitely a half bone. Half
No,
chub.
probably like a
ridiculously
Half chub.
boner 6.
Probably a
right there.
ridiculous 6.
It's like a
high arousal
blood,
count.
like blood is flowing, but it's not
Oh
really
God!
quite there.
Don't
so it's
don't
like a half
All
chub.
right,
don't
well,
go
on
into
that-
details.
That's our time.
On that note, that's all our time.
We gotta go.
Stay aroused, you film gurus. This is Blockbuster Pick-ems. Follow us on www.blockbusterpickems.com, on Twitter at Blockbuster Pick-ems, and the other things, and also on iTunes, on Google Play, on Stitcher, YouTube for the video, and also just have a great week
Have a great week.
and see some movies.
Send us
See
your
some
picks.
movies.
Blockbuster Pick-ems
Blockbuster
out.
Pick-ems.
Out.